Hello friends, family, and other creatures of the sea. Welcome back to another high-level game of StarCraft 2. Today we have Liquid's Elazer over here on the top right side of Data Sea. And in the bottom left we have Ryung, who's sending his SCVs across the map. And this is not for a scouting mission. This is for what seems to be either a Proxy 2 or a Proxy 3 racks over here. So far it's only 2 SCVs, so most likely going to be Proxy 3 racks. I love the pessimism though here out of Ryung, I have to admit it. He's sending 2 SCVs across the map, but he's also already setting up a camera hotkey for the 5th base. That's a level of confidence in the build that if the 2 Rex would know that it was getting disrespected like this, I don't quite think the 2 Rex would want to be executed anymore here. Let me tell you that much. This is not great, you know. It's definitely plan A, but plan B, C, D, E, and F have already been worked out. And that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. I'm still curious though to see if this is actually going to end up working out. As we turn our little music as well over here. Elazer is sending an Overlord towards the left side. Not so sure if he's going to scout this in time. He'll scout it. Oh, actually he's not going to go there at all. He's just going to idle it over here. Okay, he ain't scouting crap then. He's definitely not going to scout it in time. Like he might scout it by the time the Marine shows up. But that's not really scouting it then, is it? I don't think it is. That is like spotting the car crash as you get hit by the car. He's like, well, nice anticipation there, buddy. Not sure if that counts. Don't think it is. Ooh, is that SCV stuck here? I think it is. We'll have to see this barracks get lifted immediately. That costs 3-4 seconds on the 3rd Marine building time. Sounds like it's very little, but could be significant here. We'll have to wait and see exactly how Elazer is going to decide to respond. Already has an extra worker on the way. Does not have an Overlord. I think he was planning on taking a very fast 3rd base. The clash opener, as we call it. A very quick 3rd base. And basically delaying that 3rd Overlord by a little bit. I'm not sure if that's good or bad in this type of scenario. Nice control so far though with that SCV. That was really cute. Pulls back the SCV that was being targeted and then decided to use it to try and kill the worker here. Or pulling back the drone, sorry, that was being targeted. Ends up killing that SCV. 4 drones. 5 drones have already gone down. And Reapers as a follow-up here. So 5 drones as the initial kills. This bunker is going to get salvaged in time. So 70 minerals go back there. Lots of mining time lost as well for Elazer. And I think usually the rule is if a Proxy 2 Rex kills more than 3 workers, that usually is fine for the Terran player. So, with that in mind, I think Ryung is going to be okay here. 2 Reapers make their way in towards the main. Elazer out of position. Oi, 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 oi. Not the greatest start here. Grenade is not quite going to hit that. Ooh, poor target fire. Means that both of the drones that got targeted there will actually end up staying alive. The Reapers start heading back to another location. 21 workers against 22. We have a 3rd command center starting right now. And this is just the beauty of the 2 Rex, right? You put on a lot of pressure in the early game, but your actual economy isn't that bad. The thing that really sucks often is the timing of your tech, compared to usual at least, is your Hellions are way later, your starport is going to be super delayed. There is one extra kind of perk that you usually do have, and that's if you keep any of the Marines alive, is that scout denial is relatively easily, makes it hard for the Zerg to have a proper response against everything. So that is just something that you kind of want to keep in mind. As double Reapers are now jumping up and down this little cliff. Speed is nowhere near being done yet, so I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue for these Reapers. They will just head back home and kind of go to the safety of their own home. Third refinery on the way. Reactor and attack lab. 3rd refinery makes me believe that this is going to turn into a battlecruiser build. But there's also stim. But there's no starport yet. So there's a lot of things happening here, and I'm not so sure. This really does confuse a little bit. It does confuse me a little bit. This 3rd gas. Is it a fake? No, it's not a fake. He's mining from it. He's mining with 9 workers from gas. This feels like a TVT build, honestly. It really does. Except then the initial 2 Rex would be Reapers being proxied, of course. This is such a fast 3rd gas. Okay, if he doesn't use this gas appropriately, I'm going to be extremely upset. I'll just say it right here. I'll be angry. Not just regular upset, I'll be extremely upset. The type of upset where I have to add Ryung into my Skype friend list, send them an angry message. Or even better, on Skype you can just call them during the night and as that program is incapable of being muted, he'll have to wake up to decline my call. It's insane that Skype has a busy feature that doesn't work, and hasn't worked in the past 15 years. I guess my problems with Skype are, just a very small problem compared to the problems that other people have. So I won't complain too much about it, but step it up, Skype. I'm watching you, Bill. Okay. First two Hellions are popping out here. That's Hellion 3 and 4. First two are here already. So the layer is starting up right now. 52 workers for Elazer against the 42 out of Ryung. Of course, with triple CC, you do have triple mules as well, and that's going to be helpful. There's going to be some major pressure coming in at this point at the same time. This starport moves over for another reactor. Third barracks is on the way. Why are these Marines staying at home? I don't quite know. I guess he's not happy with the current Marine count. He's going to wait till the next wave of 3 Marines, put them in that medevac, and then start making his way across the map. 7 Queens are done, 2 more on the way. Baneling Nest, well, practically finished. Lair about to finish as well, so it's going to be a quick rush into Baneling speed, hopefully with a fast forward base. Yep, there we go. And then this defense, this is the important defense. If this defense is good, Elazer is going to be in a very solid spot. If he loses something here, his spot is going to be significantly worse than it usually would be in a standard game. So this really is the only moment that's kind of going to matter in these first 7.5 minutes. So far so good though, as Ryung prioritizing taking out overlords. More links are on the way for Elazer as well. Does he have units in position in the main? Yep, he does have units in position in the main. That's plenty of links. I do not believe that these medevacs can get into a spot where they can safely unload and then start stimming up. Don't forget, these are Marines without combat shield currently. That is a big difference. If you have Marines with combat shield, you can often unload into one position and then still kind of stim up and have plenty of health anyway. But yeah, without combat shield, often not the case. Stim costs so much already that if you take any initial damage, life really tends to suck a lot for Terran in that case. 1-1's about to finish up as well for Ryung, who's denying a lot of creep here on the right side. Ling run by heading towards the third base. Is there anything in position? Oh, there's 2 tanks. Plenty of Marines. I do not think you can fight this Elazer. This might work against a Master League player, but not against Ryung. Ryung is quick enough with the pickup there. Now this army is actually going to stim back. It's going to take out all of these links. A little bit of a trap there being set by Ryung. And definitely worked out for him. Good Marine count, worker count pretty even as well. Fort base still undersaturated here on Elazer's side of things. So he is currently on 4 gas, gonna stick with that Ling Bane composition. A couple of Lings still patrolling in the main base. That means that there's not that many units actually here to defend the creep on the left side. No active creep tumors left, except for this bad boy. Is going to get taken out most likely as well here. If Ryung is paying attention, 1 Hellbat is paying attention. 2 tanks are coming with this push, and this is a tricky position. Lings from the main perhaps will need to come and save Elazer here. 1-1 isn't done yet either, so this is actually a pretty scary push. There's a couple of Hellbats who are staying in the back. Then you have these Marines pushing back the Queens, the tank with the backup. This is a beautiful position. Link's still stuck in the main base. There's no 1-1. Baneling's trying to get the connections with the Hellbat Marine Force. We'll get some connections. Target fire not brilliant out of Ryung, but I think good enough. 1 more tank stays alive, at least for a little bit longer. Will get taken out eventually. This was a good trade, I think, for Elazer, who's floating at, holy crap, a lot of money. He's currently floating about 2.1k resources. Actually, on the verge of dying. Now has to F2 get all of the links together. 1-1 is about to finish up, but it's not quite there yet. Tanks coming in as well. Now, the real problem here is not so much the 1-1, but it's the Queens, I think. The 1-1 links, I mean, are good, but you can take them out. The Queens in the back are the ones that deal the real damage. And Ryung is going to get pushed back. So this is kind of funny, because the fight felt good for Elazer, taking out a lot of the tanks. But then you looked at the supply and all of a sudden it got kind of scary there. As long as Elazer survives and gets to spend his money, I think he's going to be in a pretty okay spot. Follow-up pushes here for Elazer will be tricky to... or for Ryung, sorry, will be tricky to execute because of the lowered tank count. I mean, losing 2 tanks is always painful. The Hellbats are gone as well, so any follow-up push will not have that. However, there is of course potential for a 2-2 timing that Ryung has, that we might be seeing. Double sensor towers being built right next to one another, covering each other's weak spots. Love to see it. Brothers in arms. Look at that. This little bit of extra space is what Ryung did it for. This happens a quite decent amount as well by Terran. They just build 2 sensor towers right next to one another. I'm not entirely sure how it happens. It's a really kind of an odd mistake that happens way too much for how often it should happen in my mind. It's an expensive building as well, and it's super useful to actually have it in the correct positions. Oh well, it is what it is. Burrow on the way, as well as Overlord drops. Elazer is the type of player that plays the way that Terrans hate. Like, this is how someone would play off-race. If they're usually a Terran player, and then they off-race with Zerg, they get their Burrow, they get their Overlord speed, and their Baneling drops. That's kind of how Elazer does it as well. You know, he gets all these annoying little, kind of gimmicky tricks, you want to say. It's just extremely annoying. It's also expensive, of course, that's why not every Zerg does it. Elazer's very consistently annoying. You have to give him that. Baneling run by being set up. Well, has been set up for a while. I wouldn't even mind if he burrows it until he uses it. Like, no one's going to randomly scan in this area, but something could fly over here and find these Banes, which would be painful. Imagine these 2 medevacs finding it. That would actually suck a little bit. It's not going to happen quite yet. Uh-oh. The Baneling traps. Uh-oh. Poof! Oh. Could have definitely gotten more there, but shot it a little bit late. It almost... Oh, yeah. That's a little bit optimistic there out of Elazer, though. Just hope your opponent was falling asleep. It feels a little bit like the... You know, when a magician... Like these magicians that do the pickpocket routine, you know? When they invite someone on stage, that's kind of what this felt like. You know, you're just taking out this guy's thigh as he's watching you do it. And then as you take his thigh and you show him that you got his thigh, you also take his watch. And you just took his thigh with the initial Baneling hit, and now you're trying to take his watch in full vision. Luckily for Elazer, it feels like Ryung didn't actually see it, so it might actually end up working. A true magician here. The Baneling magician. Your units walk on top and they disappear. There's no reappearing. I think the disappearing act isn't the impressive part, you know? The Mafia has been helping people disappear for, well, decades already. The real trick with the magician is making people reappear. And Elazer hasn't figured that part out yet either. He's great at making Marines disappear though. Couple of Queens helping out here. Did he just target down his own Overseer? Or did Ryung do that? Queens are these units that have slightly cannibalistic tendencies. Where they'll like eat an Overseer for fun, or they start attacking a hatchery. Accidentally. This happens a fair amount as well. Liberators are being constructed right now as Elazer is heading into a... What's this? Can we call this a late game? I think we can call this a late game, right? Lurkers. Lurkers. Vipers. Do we have Lurkers yet? No, we have Seismic Spines on the way. Adrenal Glands on the way. Ryung's... What is this? Whenever I see the Queen's Walk of Creep, it always reminds me of the scene in Lord of the Rings. You know, when the Trends attack the trees? Are they called Trends? I think he gets angry when they call him a tree. I'm not a tree! When they attack Isengard. This is always what I feel like when the Queens... The Queens are also about as powerful as these trees in Lord of the Rings. Like, extremely powerful even. Actually crazy how powerful Queens are of Creep. Well, not anymore without the transfuse, but it is what it is. Couple of Banelings rolling in, Lurkers being constructed here. Fifth base finally being secured. Seems like Ryung is kind of keen on just not doing anything here in this game. Love to see it. Vipers moving forward as well at the same time. Adaptive Talents, Ghost Personal Cloaking. Can Elazer really attack into this? I want to say no. Overseer's going to get sniped here immediately. And there's so many tanks in this position. No way. A couple of EMPs are going off. A couple of snipes as well. This base is not a planetary yet, which means it can just lift in the worst case scenario that it needs to lift. Lurkers will, well, at least temporarily stay alive. Final Overseer just went down. That means that these ghosts can move forward and just auto-attack if they want to. There's a couple of ghosts without energy left though, and that means they'll take a bit of a beating against these Lurkers. Completely out of energy as well on majority of these ghosts. Lips push forward as these Lurkers will have to go back home. Resource lost 10k in favor of Ryung currently. This does not seem like a position that easily gets broken. More tanks are being constructed, more ghosts are being built, high-sec auto-tracking. What's this? Building armor? Neo-steel armor. Increases the cargo space of bunkers by 2. Also provides extra cargo space for command centers and planetary fortresses. I don't think I've ever seen that used, the cargo space for the planetary fortress upgrade. Like the upgrade gets researched, but it doesn't get used. There's a little interesting fight here. It felt like Ryung had enough units, but not in the correct positions. This actually was an okay-ish fight here for Elazer. At least cost efficient. Was about a 9k difference and remains about a 9k difference. So, a 1-to-1 ratio trading for Zerg is something that Zerg is very happy with. More links being constructed. Tank count still at 11 though. If you take a look at the production tab, it's quite funny. It almost looks like a meching Terran here. He's practically playing mech with Ghost as support really. And it's interesting to see. Fusion core coming out for, I guess, advanced ballistics, which is the Liberator range. Grants Liberators 2 extra range. Couple of tanks in position, snipes going. He borrows the links. Oh no. What a gigantic misclick there. Oi, 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 oi. I'm not saying that this fight would have gone perfect or he would have straight up won the game here, but... Oh, that was a mistake and a half. That really was a mistake and a half. Couple of snipes here. Take a look at our units lost right now. Actually, fights seem to have been somewhat okay, like down 3k for Elazer. Can you imagine what would have happened had these 50 links not burrowed and actually continued attacking? Oh, what a huge misclick there out of Elazer. Solid 2 seconds without these links there. Ay, 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 ay. 17 more drones in per... Wait, what? Must have lost some workers then to something. There is a marine drop in the top left as well. What's our scanning machine number? Okay, we have 6 scanning machines. 6 orbital commands. We have about 5 scans available currently. We see an orbital command flying over here. Well, ooh, those are 2 changelings, and we get the burrow down as well. Very nice. Properly done here. I like that. I really do like that. A couple more scans coming in. Creep gets taken out on the top side. There's a planetary here for defense. I don't think this is going to get broken anytime soon. Seems like the expansion pattern for Ryung is very focused on the right side of the map as well, rather than towards that top side. And I think Elazer recognizes that, starts taking bases here on the top side. The direction that Terran expands in often also is the direction that Terran attacks into. Attacking into a direction grants safety. Safety is all that Terrans want. They just want these Zergs off their planet. Actually, that was a pretty good ghost impression, I think. Liberator moves in, scan, pop, 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 pop. Brrr. The moment you unburrow with these lurkers, ghosts immediately come in for snipes. It's the same with the Hydras. Lots of Hydras are going to get sniped down. They just walk in to try and take out one of these lips. Advanced ballistics about to finish up. There is no overseer here in position. That means that we see 3, 4, well, infinite amounts of lurkers go down. Actually, one more snipe. No, out of energy as well now on all of these ghosts. He's very keen on immediately sending the cloak. And he gets a lot of kills with it, but needs to be careful that in the next defensive engagement he doesn't just straight up die. It's only 55 workers left right now. Oops. We have a bit of a Ling run by coming in. SCVs could have surrounded that tank, but don't quite. Depot's not going to get lifted as it's not necessary. And the planetary in the back grants some safety. Sensor tower being constructed up here. There's so many Liberators. 6 Liberators in position. There's like 8 tanks as well here. I don't think this is a breakable spot anymore. I really don't believe it. Helbets are being added in. For links, I guess. Maybe also tank some Baneling fire. I mean, they're not great against Banes, but I guess they do okay. Decently enough. I just don't really see how you're going to break this. Mines are going to be added in as well. And it's not like Elazer is trying to transition out of it. He's in a breaking army, you know? He's in the business of breaking stuff. Breaking hearts, breaking bones, and breaking this Terran defense. And now it seems actually to be going rather well here on the left side. Single planetary will provide a lot of safety. Tanks rotating as well. Liberators moving in. Snipes hitting mainly the Hydras. Now that sounds funny. Usually we see mainly snipes on the lurkers. But as there needs to be anti-air at all times, sniping the Hydras actually makes some sense. If there's no Hydras, Liberators will just win the fight and hold the position. The thing that I'm worried for here for Ryung is that his expansion speed is too low. He's taking a 5th base at like 18 minutes into the game. He needs to somehow get his own half of the bases. Now, I don't ever see him take this bad boy. I'm struggling seeing how he's going to take this one before it gets somewhat mined out. This one Elazer can take, that's for sure. But I think Elazer is going to be up at least 1 base, which would be this one. But perhaps even 2, because Elazer can take the bottom right and can take the top left at the same time. So despite these very good trades, I don't actually have a super positive outlook here for Ryung's position in this game. Neural Parasite on the way, Thor's coming out as well, first 2. A couple of Vikings are also on the map already. Ship weapon level 1 started. Could have started a bit faster in my opinion, if you have double armory already. Especially if you're attacking so hard into Liberators, right? Liberators with upgrades are even stronger than Liberators without upgrades. One of these wild things of the world. Mine is going to get triggered, a couple of tanks will fall, but at the same time. Killing 2 tanks, losing, what, 50 links? Not sure if that's even worth it. Mine's also going to fall, that's a big deal actually. Love that Overseer came in there in the dying seconds of that push. 7 workers once again end up dying. This is the cool thing about Ryung. Ryung's like, okay. Looks at this game and says, well, if I lose 7 more workers, guess what's going to happen with my army? Right. It's going to become even bigger. And he already has a massive army. He has a lot of money in the bank. He really needs to continue adding units into this very high quality army. If he maxes out completely at this point, I'm honestly having a difficult time seeing how Elazer is going to fight this. Elazer's army is kind of like a chicken army, you know? And Ryung's army is that of it's a more dangerous army than a chicken. Like an angry turkey or something like that. No, more bigger. I also don't think that Elazer is a chicken army. It's more... It's like a lion cub, you know? It looks powerful and you know it might be powerful in the future. And if you fall asleep and the lion cub attacks you, it might still eat you. But probably that's not gonna happen. And then Ryung is more like a bit of a lazy animal army. Ooh, here comes a fungal, I hope. No, not a fungal. It's going to be a neural parasite. No turrets available. Oops, going to EMP. Some of these ghosts at least. Hit like 3 or 4. Hit a couple of these medevacs as well. Like a bear maybe. Bears, they sleep a lot. They definitely would be capable of beating a lion cub. Do bears and lions ever fight in nature? I don't think they occupy the same space, do they? Don't think they do. Maybe in Asia somewhere. I feel like there might be. Is there lions in Asia? Different cats maybe. God, I know so little about the living spaces of lions. I feel like an idiot. That's okay. I know a lot about StarCraft instead. I know where you can find Zerg players. I also know where you can find Terran players. Terran players usually are on the forums whining. Zerg players are in the lab trying things out. Protoss players are in the club living life. Because they're cool people. Cool people go to the club. It's a little bit of a stale game right now actually. It's pretty funny. Ever since the Queen patch, it feels... Hold that thought. It feels like Zerg versus Terran has become a lot more stale. Lots of camping going on, or 2-base all-ins. While in ZVP, you now kind of have this really back and forth type of games. So ZVP is the new ZVT, and ZVT is the new ZVP. It's interesting to think about that, how that worked. Such a minor queen change as well, such a large impact on the matchup. Of course, didn't have much of an impact on this matchup, but for some reason Terrans now are just camping a lot and deciding that attacking is for losers. It's not my favorite type of gameplay. It really isn't. 2 more factories are on the way. There's already 3. 3 plus 2. Means there's going to be 6 factories out. Producing lots of Thors. Maybe some Hellbats as well. I know that Ryung likes building Hellbats in these types of scenarios. He also is one of the few players that actually adds late game Ravens. It's not very common, but he does do it. Ooh, fungal. Fungalare. Big fungal. That actually does help. Poof. A couple more. Yep, there we go. 1 investor gets taken out. So a big run by potential here on the far left side. 8 corruptors on the way. 1 Tor. Ship weapons level 3. Still feels like Ryung has a massive army. Well, Elazer has... It's a better looking army. You know, the Lion Cub has grown up a little bit. Starting to get claws. I don't think Lion Cub really hiss, do they? Like a snake thing, maybe. It's actually no defense here whatsoever. And Elazer just tested that with 2 links. It's like the scouts. They go in, see there's just 2 tanks. Like, well, I think I can clear this. Overseer can't die, no. That means that these mines... Well, I think he just cleared up all the mines barely in time. That's somewhat important. As we see Ryung pushing into this top right side base, or the 3 o'clock or so. This one is still alive. Elazer's actually starting to take this one as well right now. I think Elazer's absolutely ripping Ryung a new one in this game when it comes to the money. When it comes to the trades, though, Ryung is ripping Elazer a new one. And as long as Elazer wants to outmine his opponent, he needs to stay high in the worker count. Now, this is an army that shouldn't be allowed to succeed. And also won't succeed because of these links coming in, I think. Ooh, Hellbat's pretty strong though against pure Ling. Hellbats will survive indeed. 3 more Thors on the way here. 32 workers left for Ryung. Decent bank as well. What army are we at? We're 7 Thors. We are actually 9 Thors. Ship weapons level 3. 10 Ghost, 10 Hellbats, 4 Lips, and 10 tanks. This is a very diverse army here out of Ryung. But is it an army that can perform well enough in a fight? I don't actually know. Like, in a fight moving up a ramp. Like, obviously if they fight in the open, I think Ryung is going to be super favored. But you need to be pushing up a ramp with a poor concave. That might be tricky. 32 workers right now for our Terran player, who doesn't really have any defense whatsoever right now on the left side. 2 Thors are going to try and help out. Not sure that's even going to be enough. 3rd Thor shows up as well. Lips are getting pushed back. A couple of snipes perhaps? No? Not gonna see it. It's not now. Broodlord count is at 16. That's a large count of broodies. One of these brutes is going to fall, so make that 15. 9 more workers go down. Once again, Ryung says, okay, you kill 9 more workers. Guess what? Guess who ain't gonna rebuild them? Right, that's me. Mineral income also extremely low though for Ryung. Gas income also terrible, to be quite honest. But what happens if he decides to fight? What happens with Elazer's army if Ryung decides to fight? If this is an indicator of how this fight is gonna go, I don't actually think that would be a massive issue for Elazer, to be honest. Oop, tank's gonna get taken out. Elazer has a massive bank. He can afford that. He can afford another bad trade. Ryung can't afford any trade. It's purely based on gas, by the way, nothing else. He needs to really start mining this rich gas, and that's what he's doing right now. 3-3 upgrades coming out as well for the air. Here come the broodies. Here come the broodies. Not quite sure if they're being controlled right now. Elazer wasn't really paying attention. He's going to get an okay trade. At the same time, Ling run by heading in towards this base. Banelings will get taken out on the ramp, but these command centers in a little bit of trouble. I think Ryung at some point in the near future actually needs to start pulling a trigger. He needs to send something. As one of these broodlords moves a bit too far forward. This base is empty now, so it's nice for Ryung to push away this position, but it's actually completely mined out. Gas, minerals, everything gone. Slow push forward into this lurkered up, spined up, and spored up spot. You see Elazer kind of rotate towards the bottom side with his defense, his static defense, while his main army moves more towards the middle. There's no real spores over here though. Once Ryung takes out this base and cuts off reinforcements from the bottom side, I guess the bottom side is also going to fall, no? We're going to get 4 Vipers out. We have somewhat of a defense here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That is scary. Single scan here could take both of them out. Don't think a single scan is going to happen. Usually you don't scan for no reason whatsoever. You could try, but there's really no point. Here comes Elazer. 2 Thors get taken over, start fighting one another. Infestors do get taken out, but 1 Thor dies as well. Not the greatest trade for Elazer. Still, Elazer way down in resources lost. Ryung is now mining a decent chunk of gas at least. Still have this, it's not really, yeah, it's the high ground above this base. But I guess the tanks are in position to defend that if the lurker wants to move forward. Rotation coming out of Elazer. I think Ryung spots that. Yeah, Ryung has a good vision of this army right now. What's the... Okay, 19 Broodies. Another Thor gets taken out. 2 Thors. Actually, it's just 1 Thor that's gonna die. Maybe this one also dies. Yep. 2 Thors will get taken out here. A couple of links and an infester. Here come the broods though. Fungal's hitting in a big way as the ghost. They're taking a beating here against these broodlings at the same time. We've already seen, what is it, 3 broodlords die. 4th one falls as well as these Vikings continue chasing. Couple of snipes going down. 1 more broody dies. Vikings in the air helping out. Thor's also shooting from a distance, of course. 13 broods still alive. Make that 12. Make that 12. So I'll say 11, but it's going to stick with 12. Good trades there for Ryung. Needs to be so careful though. Cannot afford to reinforce much more. Only has 3 ghosts left as well. This is a Thor Hellbent Viking army right now. Ooh, infestors. We all get sniped. 2 of them go down. 1 will make it to the other side. He paid the toll to the troll under the bridge. And gets to live. But he'll die another day. Ooh. What did he just pick up? A car? And he really cares about every unit here, huh? Here comes an attack from the back. I don't quite think that that's possible for Elazer. But then again, I might be wrong as well. A couple of abducts would be huge. That's 1 lip that gets taken in. Could perhaps take something else. No, lip isn't even going to die. Ghost gets grabbed. Thor also will fall here. Whoop. Almost takes out a broodlord with it. I think Elazer is far enough ahead at this point that even with 1 bad fight, he can still just win. Do we actually have an Ultra Cavern or something? No, there's no Ultra Cavern. There's just going to be a remax on a similar army. Or maybe on like a Lurker army. It's also a possibility, of course. Lots of possibilities. Ghost count will go up to 10 as we have a Ling run by here. Oi, 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 oi. This Ling run by is annoying. It's the Lurker on the high ground also joining in on the fray. Rocks get taken out. This base will need to be given up. We don't see any command center flying over to the left side, which means that this base can't even really be grabbed here for Ryung. Ryung is just getting outmined in a big way still. 27 mineral income against 2,000. Those are not positive numbers for the Terran player. Really aren't positive numbers for the Terran. 16 brutes are out. As the base will die. I don't think it matters too much. Couple of abducts coming in here. 1, 2. A tank and a Thor. Sitting in the tree. D-Y-I-N-G. Dying. Not a very pleasant activity to be doing together in a tree. So both of them got abducted into a Broodlord army. A couple extra Overlords are on the way. And 22 Banelings morphing as well. Infestors are idling on the far right side. I'm not quite sure what they're doing. So we have some... Ooh. What are these? Some Baney boys. Poof. We'll take out this base, I think. +3 upgrade should be plenty. Yep, there we go. We'll indeed get it. And this should trigger Ryung into doing something. Like, he has no mining whatsoever. He just keeps losing unit after unit after unit. Resources lost still heavily in his favor, but He's practically mined of like 5.5 base at this point, and that's just not enough in this matchup. If your opponent is mining from 9 or 10, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. I lost track. Lost track of my counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 bases. This one isn't mining yet, so it's 9 versus 5.5. That is some significant outmining that is going on, of course. Brood Lord count is at 21. Fully upgraded Brood Lords. Here we go. Is this going to be it? This is the fight that Ryung wanted. Couple of fungals going to land in a big way. Do I see some blinding clouds underneath there as well? No, maybe. Didn't quite look like it. Ryung once again is going to push forward. At least killed something. 164 supply left for Elazer. Ryung starts the chase. But Spores here will kind of stop that chase, at least from the Liberators. Helbets on the ground will burn these Broodlings, but at the same time a lot of ground units are taking a bit of a beating against these Brood attacks. 10 more Corruptors are on the way. Yes. Yeah, Ryung lost 25 supply, and that's 25 supply he can't rebuild. And that's just the thing here, is that everything he loses will not be coming back. Broodlord's getting kited rather well. Here comes a Neural. We'll take over one of these stores at least temporarily. More fungal boys coming in. Perhaps for Neurals, perhaps for fungals. 1. That's 1 fungal. Can we get 2? No, we can't apparently. Broodlords are just going to stay alive and seem to be kiting this all the way back home for the Zerg. Elazer with some fantastic mining in this game. Decent enough fights as well, apparently. And Ryung could not make it happen. Thors are falling. GG gets called as Elazer here wins game on DataC. Fantastic stuff. I hope you all enjoyed this as well. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you and bye bye.